I'm so excited that you guys are here today. I've got my sister Rose and we're going to be sitting down and just talking about AI. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about it, but we don't really see a lot of people in our space going into it and kind of sharing what they're doing and how they think about it. This is just a casual sit down conversation, almost like a stream of thoughts, like us just kind of talking about the same conversations we actually have together on the phone, over Zoom, via text, the real conversations that Rose and I have together. We thought it would be really cool to bring you guys all in and sharing that conversation with us. So I'm
100%.
excited.
I'm so excited to be here. I don't know if it's just being talked about more or it's been brought to my awareness, but I feel like I can't AI is everywhere. I mean, even if you watch like the Super Bowl, for example, like I felt like every other commercial in the Super Bowl was either like about AI or AI generated, or it's just like very much in conversation right now. So we want to talk about it. Again, we are not AI experts by any means. Like we are just learning this. I mean, I feel like I'm only starting to really learn it like as of a month ago.
Yeah.
I
think that's a huge advantage though, is that, you know, we talk about this even with our students. You don't have to be the expert, but to someone who doesn't even know where to start, I think us showing and sharing how we're starting to incorporate this, starting to learn about it, just starting to like really wrap our own brains around it, I actually think is very, very helpful. There's a really big gap between people that have been doing this for a very long time, who know all these things, and people who are, you know, in our world who are just getting started even to online businesses, much less AI stuff. And I think the new AI element can add a lot of fear and a lot of negativity and a lot of worry. So you mentioned we got really heavy into this about a month ago. Can you tell us what happened?
So I think a lot of you guys might have seen this, but like Tony Robbins, he went on, it was the Diary of a CEO.
I think that's what it was.
So Maria sent me this video and she's like, you got to watch this.
I was in the airport, I think Austin airport, coming back from a business trip.
And she's like, get ready to get scared. And I'm like, whatever, like AI, this AI that we hear it. But Tony Robbins, for those of you who don't know, like he's just been around forever. So he's in like the self-help, like coaching business world. Since the 70s. So like before the internet, he's been around, and he, in this video, maybe we'll link it below because I think it'd be helpful for you guys to watch it, but he just talks about how people don't even know what's going to hit them when it comes to AI. And it's disrupting every single industry at lightning speed exponentially. And so I think it was really interesting, but it also made me very scared at the start. I was literally like, wow, like how, like he's talking about people getting jobs displaced, like it was, you know, during when they were, you know, they were farmers doing it by hand versus like having machines. Like it's that level of like disruption, and probably honestly even more. And I feel like, you know, we heard people talking about this, but for some reason with Tony Robbins, it registered more for me because I feel like he's got all the connections. He's been in this world forever. Like I don't think he would just be saying this to say it. At least that's my perspective. And I think you shared a similar thing too, is like he's just been around forever. He seems to know everybody. And so we really took to heart what he said.
Basically, one of the big things that I took seriously was the fact that he was taking it seriously. Because you have to remember, Tony Robbins, he had a business in the info space, which is essentially what we have. He had a business in the info space that he took through the pioneering and the invention of the internet. Right? So he went from selling cassettes,
little
selling
CDs, maybe even, or not even,
I think, to
books and
books, exactly. And he really carried his business through a tremendous upheaval period. And I believe we're about to go into another.
I think we're kind of in it a little bit.
I don't think we're seeing the start. Like I think we're really just at the very, very beginning. And so to kind of your point, like that we took it much more seriously. And I think this is why it's so helpful that even you and I are having this conversation, because again, it's people in our own industry. I think 100%. It's one thing to see a guy on YouTube talk about AI, or it's just like it's on the news, or like some boomers asking you about it, right? I think there's a really big difference between that and then like, oh, Maria and Rose are talking about this. This is someone I trust. This is someone I've actually seen a lot of good results from in other areas of my business. What do they have to say about it?
And it's interesting because so the big question that came up to me when I watched this is like, how does this affect what we're doing in the info space, in the digital product space, and even in like just the online space in general? Like you hear, you know, coders are losing their jobs, or you hear like graphic designers, for example. Like, how does this affect us, and what do we do about it? Is like my immediate, like in my first question was like, why would anybody buy a digital product when you can get info from ChatGPT or Claude or whatever? And so I started looking around, like if anybody had anything to say on it, and I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, not in our space.
Not in our space. Like I just couldn't find any videos on it. I couldn't find any TikTok. Like I was down the rabbit hole for a while. And so I was like, Maria, we got to talk about this. So that's how this is all coming about.
What was one of the big things that you took away from the interview in terms of like, okay, I need a first step, or I need to start learning about AI?
Yeah.
Like, what did you start? You watched the video, and then what happened?
One of the things that Tony Robbins said in his interview, if I'm remembering correctly, because I have watched a bunch now, he says you need to learn it, not be afraid of it, and you need to create. Because with AI and with like things like ChatGPT and Claude, and like, I mean, there's whole tools now that I haven't even looked at, but they can make like whole websites from scratch. Like they get like it is insane what some of these things can do. And I think so many people are intimidated to learn it. They're scared to learn it. They're burying their head in the sand about it. And that's the best way to be irrelevant, to be, you know, lose your job, to be put out of business. Like he said, learn it, be someone that, I don't know, actually he said be someone that uses it. Cause he seemed very like, be careful with it. But he definitely said like, learn it and then create, like still be creative, still like have your hobbies and like do things that are like creative, because when you have these tools, they make your life easier, but they can make you not creative, I think. So that was one of the things that really stood out to me. And then I was just determined since then, I've just been learning 15 minutes every day about these tools and like what they can do and like where we're at with things. And I think a lot of people don't even know where we're at with AI because there's like so many varying levels from what I understand. And again, I'm just getting into it.
One of the things I think is so interesting that you do is you have, I think it's your ChatGPT teach you. You're like, teach me about AI.
Claude, that's how I learned, because I really was trying to find like a channel or like a TikTok, like something that I could learn from someone who was further along from me. And I just felt like they were not really educating me, but more just like fear mongering or like
getting headlines.
Yeah. Or like, I don't like, just like, you know, the bros that like, they probably do know a lot, but I don't know. I just wanted to learn for myself. So what I did is I asked Claude to teach me about itself, because it knows everything about itself, because it's all in like the training module and stuff. So that's how I've been learning. And I honestly, like, if you want to learn it too,
it's a good place.
Literally just ask, teach me one factual, because you have to ask, like, there's a lot of times like those tools will pull from the internet and like unfactual things. So I just say like, teach me one factual thing about yourself and teach it to me like I'm 5 is literally how I say, because a lot of times, you know, the terminology and stuff is like way over my head. So
that's amazing. I think for me, one of the things I've been thinking about this too, just on a like very macro level, like artificial intelligence. And I do think that like I don't even know, like, is AI like, how do we think about it, right? How do we understand its place in history? Because I think I truly believe that history repeats itself. And if we aren't sure about the future, it's not a bad idea to look to the past.
Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, some of the same things where they say like, oh, well, like, every invention improves. And I agree with that. Every invention is an opportunity. And I agree with that. Like, there's so much opportunity with this. But you know what I have not heard anyone talk about, and I think is so important, is how fast this invention is on the heels of the invention of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the internet made people millions and millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that was in our lifetime, relatively, right?
Yeah.
Think about how that was a huge world-changing, global economy changing, literally changed everything about everything.
Yeah.
In like the 70s, right? Like recently, right? 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
And now we have a whole nother one that's going to change it even more, even sooner. Yeah. And so I think for those of us who want to be business owners, if history repeats itself and inventions keep happening, like really like human life-changing inventions keep happening this quickly, we can't react to invention with fear, with ignoring it. Yeah. That's how Sears missed the opportunity to be the next Amazon, right? Sears had all the distribution, all the brand names. They'd been around for over 100 years, but they feared the internet. They didn't think it was going to be around. They ignored it. They didn't think it was relevant. Yeah. So and then Amazon, who had, it was just getting started. It had none of the connections, none of the distribution, none of the brand awareness. It came on the scene. Yeah. And so I think that I look back, like I'm going to be doing this for decades and decades. Yeah. So if history repeats itself, which it tends to, that means that it's not just about navigating and thriving and having opportunities and learning about AI and being open to it and being receptive to it. It's also about learning regulation, like emotional regulation as a business owner, being open to change. Like you said, like just even starting small We have a lot of cool things we'll talk about, just all the cool tools we're using and all the cool different ways we're using it as a company. But that part's so new, right? Like that part, it gets outdated every 7 seconds, right? So like, I think the even more interesting, even bigger conversation is if you want to be a business owner for a long time, you're kind of newer to the game and you're like, no, I want to do this for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Probably there's going to be another really big thing that like changes the name of the game. True. And so see this as your opportunity to get excited because people made a lot of money with the invention of the internet and we're about to make a lot of money with this invention.
And the thing that I think is so interesting is like in ways that they couldn't ever like it's so hard when you're on the like before it all happens because they used to, I was reading, it was like bank people used to like sit in the back with pens and papers and hand calculate everything like from like they would balance the checkbooks by hand with pen and paper. There'd be a bunch of people in the back rooms. And obviously with the computer and with the internet, it does that all for them. And so that's unfathomable when you're the person that's sitting there hand calculating stuff and you're just worried like, I have someone that can do this in 5 seconds. But like you said, think about how much money and how many jobs the internet has created. We're here because of the internet. And so, it's hard to see when you're on this side, but when you get to the other side of it, it's obviously obvious. But
I think that's so smart. And I think that like there is a truth that some jobs will go away.
Yeah.
Like I talked to my aunt and uncle over the weekend and they have a kid who came out of school and he's a junior programmer.
Yeah.
But the thing is junior programmers used to do the prep work, the first drafts for the senior programmers, right? That's done by AI now.
Yeah.
The thing he went and spent 4 years doing is completely, immediately not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
You have AI that does the first draft and then the senior programmers come in. And so if you're not already a senior programmer, that's a gap. That's a gap.
Yeah.
And so that individual is having, and this is what my aunt and uncle shared, he's having a hard time accepting, and I understand, right? You spent 4 years studying this, you had an idea and it's changed, but there's so many alternative career paths that are viable that he's had job offers for that he could totally make a little pivot and adjust, and he's refusing to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, I think, the wrong attitude.
Yeah.
I had this, that's like the equivalent, I like the example you used, of a bank teller sitting in the back being like, I'm going to find a company that will have me sit there. And it's like, okay, so maybe you bought yourself a couple more years.
Yeah, exactly.
But you could also take a step back and be like, maybe this isn't the right thing to solidify myself. And the other thing, and it's funny you mentioned writing things down on paper, because the other morning I was journaling and I just happened for some reason to look at my journal and I started thinking about how paper used to be a precious commodity. Like paper used to take so long to make.
You make by hand.
You make it by hand and you would like get it wet and then you would press it really dry and then you would make sheets of paper. And paper was saved for the most important thoughts, for the most important, like you couldn't just scribble on it. And now, because of inventions, because of people inventing, humanity has gotten better because we have infinite access to paper, amongst other things. And so I just think really like, so our fears are based on our feelings of job security or like even bigger picture things. Like what is that going to look like for humanity? But in general, inventions have pros and cons, right? 100%. Like the pro of the Industrial Revolution and food being produced is that like it was easier to get food across the country, right? There's a lot of like, the con of that is we became less connected to what we eat. Like it became maybe less healthy for us. So there's true cons of inventions, but they happen nonetheless. And I don't see the wisdom in putting, like you said, our head in the sand and denying the inevitable. It's happening. Right.
It's happening. Whether we agree, like, because I think there are a lot that I don't think we're going to speak on much, but I think there are a lot of ethical concerns and like all that. I'm not knowledgeable enough to speak on this, but I think regardless, it's happening. And so
that's how I feel about capitalism too. Like you can not like parts of capitalism and parts of capitalism cannot work. And that's fine. We can all agree on that. Yeah. And yet capitalism is the game we're playing.
That's what we're in. Yeah.
So let's play it well.
Yeah.
Let's play it well.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're learning about AI that you think apply to like our students?
Yeah, I have a whole list of things because I think we want to go in a little more specifically to like if you're selling if you're in the info product, if you're in the like online space, what are some things you can do to like AI proof your products? And so one thing that I realize is a lot of times, like let's say you go to Claude or ChatGPT for, let's say like ad strategy, for example. They're pulling from hundreds or thousands of different people's strategies that are out there and trying to conglomerate it into one strategy, which a lot of times doesn't really work. We want specific, and we teach this in a lot of our different courses in our How to Create a Viral Digital Product course, like all those all those courses we teach, you need to have a specific strategy with a specific outcome. And so what AI is currently doing, and again, maybe this will be different in the future, but what it's currently doing is it's giving a very generic, generalized strategy pulled together from hundreds or thousands of sources. So what's going to come out of that is a very generic, unspecific, frankly, unhelpful strategy. And there was a whole conversation in our coaching group about this girl who was trying to use ChatGPT to run her ads and just like flush money down the drain. Then she took her ads course and started doing really well. So I think we've already been teaching this, but making it specific goal or like one specific result, one outcome. You said, I think I don't remember what I was watching of yours, but it was like, you used to do really well with generic, like, how to design your home courses, right? But now it needs to be more specific, like how to, I don't know, like design your living, or I don't even
it would be like instead of just like, interior design, like the interior design home, it would be, making over your living room with a budget of $500 or less. Yeah. Right. So very specific.
It's what we've always been teaching, but I think more than ever, it's going to be moving in that direction.
And I think there's so much value in that. I think the other thing that, we touch on, and I'm sure it's on your radar, is we've always teach hyper-specific.
Exactly.
Always. We've always have. And then the other thing too, that I still think is so relevant is our story.
Yes.
I want to learn, to build a business the way Maria has a business. I think that the way she's been able to structure it as a single mom with time with her kid, like I think that is so important. And so in some ways, the business principles we teach are timeless principles that have applied forever and will continue to apply, teaching very specific things, sharing your story and sharing vulnerably. The other thing I think that we're starting to do really well as a company, and we're excited like in the rest of the course to teach this to you guys, is how we're adopting the ways that AI can save us time and can create better systems and can help us. Not every tool is going to be right. Not every tool is going to be the one that stays with us. But I think it's more like, are we willing as a company to dive in to this in a way that's actually helpful to the company?
Yeah. And to our students. Like, everybody's seen, and I think we're going to talk about like good ways to use AI versus bad ways, but like everybody's seen those AI generated PDFs that everyone's trying to sell and they're not actually valuable. But the things that because we're actually spending time, we're learning ourselves and we're curating really powerful tools that are extremely helpful. And so there's a big difference between like you can have a really good AI generated product and a really bad generated AI product. And it all is in how you need to understand how it works first to then craft an extremely helpful tool. So that goes back to like the learning it yourself. And again, we're going to go into like specifics on how we build some of these tools and create content with AI and things like that. But it all starts with like you knowing it yourself.
I think we also need to move, when we're specifically using AI to create things, I think we need to move past the novelty of AI. Like I still see people fairly high up in fairly big companies, they can't get over the novelty of it. And so they'll be like, oh, this can create a checkout page in 7 seconds. It's a shit checkout page.
Exactly.
So the novelty is, it got done in 7 seconds. I think we need to move past that and say, okay, I'm going to use AI as maybe a first draft or to get me over the hurdle. But a shit product is still a shit product. Whether it was generated in 7 seconds or 7 hours. Right. So I think as people, as creators, as people in this space, product seller, people who sell products, we need to move past the novelty of, okay, AI is incredible. A great first draft if you know how to give it the right prompts.
Exactly. Great first draft. And then like the tools that we've created, I think it's like 150 iterations. Just as when you create content with AI, you probably need to tweak it 15, 20 times to get a good quality. Like, yes, it can help you. It can really help with like, if you're struggling with ideas or like I don't know coding, but a lot of these tools are using coding. So
some of the stuff you've built that you're going to teach about is stuff I've wanted to create for like 5 years.
And we just didn't have a coder.
Yeah.
And I'm not a coder. I went to school for marketing. Like I have no coding experience, but we're leveraging these tools to help us. And it's not like I just typed in my prompt and it's done. I worked on it for days and days to perfect it and to make it something that people actually want to use and will actually be helpful. So I think people use AI to be lazy and to create crappy products and just get them out there. But we want to teach you guys how to create good quality products that people want to use, because that's truly how you'll succeed with AI. Everybody can tell at this point, everybody can tell when something's written by AI. Right. Everybody can tell when somebody quickly threw something up with AI, right? Like it's, like you said, like crappy checkout pages. Like we've all seen those now. It's flooded with that stuff. So you need to use AI and you need to not be lazy. It's a tool that you can use. It's not going to do all the work for you though, certainly.
I think I think over time, I think hopefully that gets better. Yeah. Right. And that's where it'll evolve. Yeah. This is where we are now. Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head. And this is what I was thinking. And then you said it. It's like, it's not a it's a shortcut in a sense.
It's letting us do things we couldn't do, but it's,
But it's the hard work is still there. Yes. It's just going to be a new version of the hard work.
Exactly.
Just like the internet in some ways created a shortcut for people to get news faster. You still have to work really hard to get the news to people.
Yeah.
Right?
Now people want it faster.
They want it faster. And so I think that it's just another tool. Yep. That's really all it is. It's just another tool. Yeah. It's certainly one that's changing. I don't think we even know. I think it's like you said, like we're sitting here like little bank tellers kind of wondering what this is going to look like. We don't even know what it's going to. Yeah. We don't even know. And so I think that brings me to another point that I really want to talk about, which is like the individual decision to just, I'm not going to be passed by.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to roll up. And I think you modeled that for me. Yeah. I'm going to roll up my sleeves. I'm going to get into the thick of this. Yeah. And I'm going to ride this wave and it's not going to pass me by.
Yeah.
My uncle, he's retired. He gets to let the wave. He was in sales for like 35, 40 years or whatever it was, a long time. He gets to like, he got out 3 or 4 years ago.
He's okay.
Just as people were starting to figure out ChatGPT, right? So like he gets to let the wave pass him by.
Yeah.
I'm not 65, 70, right?
We're just getting started.
And I want a long, long future in this career.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I think about, and I really do believe this, is like, if every invention is good, like every invention helps us. Mm-hmm. Well, and let's just like using the internet as an example. The internet helps us. A, we have jobs because of the internet, but B, we help so many people because of the internet. I am already seeing with some of the stuff that we are doing with AI, the ways that my students are literally getting a better customer experience. Yeah. They're solving their problems faster. Yep. They're implementing faster. Mm-hmm. And course implementation is the #1 problem of our industry to solve. Yeah. And so if we're creating these tools and we're creating these resources and these ways for the implementation to happen faster, that's it. I get so excited. Like I get so eager for that. Yeah. I'm like, man, I can't wait for this to roll out. And so I really think that for me personally, as someone that has been doing this for 13 years, I did it after the invention of the internet, but man, I have seen a lot of comings with like with the algorithms, right? Yeah. Like I've really seen the evolution of content creation 100%. Over the last 13 years.
Yeah. Even, you went through the shift of like long form video to more short form.
And like blogging to long form to short form.
And some people never get out of like even that, you know, some people haven't made it out of that content.
Out of the blogging. Yeah, exactly. It's just, so, and I remember like when like fashion blogging was a thing. And like everyone was
like,
those
are the days though.
Those were the days.
So fun.
It was so fun.
Spent so much hours on those fashion blogs.
And imagine if we had gotten stuck there.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We're like, nope, this is social media. We're going to learn it.
Yep.
I've also, you know, like you see like all the, like, how is the economy going to go with like COVID, right? Yeah. So like I've gone through nothing this big yet, but I can look even in my own history, right? If my own history repeats itself, what were the things that served me well during that period? It was eagerness to adopt, like just to learn that, like eagerness to learn, like really, 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 really learn. Yeah. And then it was also emotional regulation. Yeah. I had no emotional regulation during COVID and I was scared shitless every day for like 2 years. It was really specifically like really 6 months. Yeah. And I just had no emotional regulation. Yeah. And now I'm just like, you know what? Like, we have enough talented people on our team. We're going to collectively figure this out together and it's going to be fine. And we're really, really very relaxed. And if I feel any emotion at all, it's excitement for the students that we're going to be helping.
And you know what we're not doing? We talk very specifically about this. We are not knee-jerk reacting, changing everything in our business to AI. It's extremely important to know this because when you hear how AI is taking over the world and how, you know, it's happening so fast and it's going to like hit us before we even, like that is super scary stuff. Yep. The regulation comes in when you say no. Instead of like, so for what we're doing, just so you guys know, is like, instead of including maybe like worksheets, we're going to try to create a little tool for every course to help them implement. That's the smallest change we're doing. Yep. We are not having AI create our checkout pages. We are not having AI create our content. Nope. We are not, like, it is one tiny change.
That's right. I literally wrote that down. I wrote, some people will be out of jobs if they do nothing. The key is just to learn about it. Yep. At the same time, I think a lot of companies are over pivoting and making their entire business around AI. And I think that that's a mistake too. Have we learned nothing from the internet bubble? Yeah. People would literally make websites called like shoes.com. They would have a shoe company. And then, but they would call it an internet company. Yeah. And then when the really internet bubble burst, all these companies that were massively overvalued crashed. It was a .com bubble, right? That's what everyone called it. Yeah. And so I think we can learn from history in that way too. Like my business is working, right? We just had our first $1 million month. We're very consistent. Cash flow is great. Margins are great. A team is great. Everything's great.
And our students too are like,
our students are seeing,
there's so much proof that digital products are still a thing. Yep. And AI, like the chatbots and like getting the information from ChatGPT has been around for a while.
Yep.
And yet digital products are still selling amazing.
They're still thriving. And I think that I have always believed that the pendulum is going to swing a little bit more towards like, okay, we done for you products, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not done for you services. Maybe it's literally like AI. How can we incorporate AI doing some of the work, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing that's always so tricky about a course is, okay, I learned all this stuff and it's amazing. Now I have my homework.
Yeah.
But what if artificial intelligence could help us with the implementation of that homework?
Yeah.
That's a better product.
Yeah.
And so I think about that just from like exactly like you said, you don't break something that's working. It would be, I see companies that I think are actively making a mistake.
The instinct is there. It's like, oh, like, I don't want to let this pass. Like you hear all that stuff. It's such a strong urge to just react.
There's one guy that I follow, and I don't want to name names, but he like, we know who he is. He's in our world. And every Facebook post, he is like so far down the rabbit hole of AI stuff. Yeah. Every Facebook post is like, every minute you don't use AI makes you 15,000 days behind or something. Like he did the math, like the hypothetical math.
And you see, that is that's just what I'm saying when I'm like, I was trying to learn it, and that's the fear mongering. Yes. That's the like.
And it gets good headlines, it gets good clicks, but that's not the conversation you and I want to have. And think about this: the internet was invented over here, for it was fully adopted was over here. I don't have the exact dates, but
that's true too.
It was invented, it was fully adopted. And it's a gap.
It's a gap.
You don't want to be over here forever, right? You don't want to be never. That's what Sears did. They never really adopted it until it was too late. And
way too late.
So I think, but like small us walking very gradually with it, and it will get better. And we will look back, I bet, on this video in 5 years and laugh our asses off.
I know.
And it's great. That's great. Do you know what that's going to demonstrate? At this time, it's like, hey, we knew it was a good thing.
Yeah.
We had good instincts.
Yeah.
We were having the right conversations. I think that's what matters.
Yeah.
I also think I have good instincts for when not to jump on something.
Yeah.
Like I never jumped on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Because I knew that was a way.
It's not even still a thing. It's so funny. I was looking at that landing page today because we were like updating some of the dates, and it was like, why I'm not using Clubhouse in 2021. I'm like, man, is that even?
No, it's not. It was literally a thing. Like
when everybody was making their whole business strategy around Clubhouse.
People literally shut down Instagram and YouTube accounts for Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have good, I feel like we have good instincts. I never did anything with Snapchat. I feel like that was like not, and that feels good.
Yeah.
And no, I don't see anyone making that much money from Snapchat.
I don't know.
So I feel like we have good instincts on what to move forward with and what to not. And this feels like something that we're not going to panic about. No. We're not going to worry about. We're not going to overly stress about, but we're going to slowly start to learn.
And it's exciting. I think like once, because I was so afraid. And then once I started learning, the more I learned about it, it's so cheesy to say, but like the more I learned about it, the less nervous I got about it. And so if you're just nervous about it, seriously, just like go learn about it, because I think it's at least like, and again, there's probably things that we don't even, like the public does not know about AI, but it's not, when I was learning about it, it's not as advanced as you would think it, people are making it out to be. So just go learn about it yourself, because you guys, it's so funny. I wanted to like show, maybe we can link this TikTok because it's just not quite there yet. And there was this guy on TikTok I watched, he was just kind of testing it. And he was like, okay, the car wash is, he was asking this AI, the car wash is like 100 meters away, which is like a 1 minute walk. Should I drive or should I walk? And ChatGPT was like, you should definitely walk to the car wash because, and then he even questioned it again. He's like, so I should walk to the car wash. And they're like, yes, you absolutely should walk to the car wash. It's a good way to get exercise. Like missing the point that the point was to get your car to the car wash. And so then he even said like, how am I going to wash my car if I'm walking? And they're like, just start with small supplies. Bring your little microfiber towel, like so ridiculous. And so I think it's, you know, people really build it up to be this huge and massive thing. And I think it will be. But at this time, you know, it's not as advanced as people think it is, in my opinion. It's not truly intelligent. It's just mimicking like word patterns, essentially. So I think for me, it gave me a lot of calm to just feel like I'm learning about it, feel like I'm in control and I'm using it smartly. Because it's one thing, people say use AI, but what I don't think they mean is like use ChatGPT. It's like use it to help make your life better. And if you're, in the digital products world, make your students' life better. Exactly. Like that's how we're not just using it for ourselves to answer silly questions.
Exactly.
We're using it to, like we were talking about, make people's lives better. So,
and truly, like the way I look at it too, and we'll talk way more about this in the course, but like things we're already doing if they can be simply and easily, quickly replaced, amazing. Let's do that. If we're going to create this massive system that bogs us down, that makes our life harder, that adds more, boxes for us to check, it's not helpful.
No.
And so we're really excited as we get into the course. We're going to kind of share with you guys how we're using AI, some of the tools we're using, some of the ways we think about it, some of the decisions that we've made. We're super excited for you to get into the rest of this course. I think that's a great place.
I think that's great. So, it's very exciting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.